Good morning. Hi, Vibe Grand Rising. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mark Bajerski Live in the Pure Energy Healing Academy. We have noise outside, so I put some music on. Noise is, of course, the huge monstrosity building that is being created, which is going to probably take another 5 years. But hey ho, I picked some lovely crystals out, by the way, and worked on these last night. Really nice. So basically, this is what I do. I get my cloth, and because I've been working on these crystals, I just like to just get them back up to a beautiful polish. And I don't know if any of you guys already know this, but on markbajerski.com, what I've been doing in and amongst uploads, working on the crystals, I'll choose one crystal out of a bunch of crystals. Actually, now I've started choosing two crystals out of a bunch of maybe 8 or 9, something like that, sometimes 20, depends how many I've got. So what I do is I realize that there's people who can afford a crystal, but can't afford the price of Mark Bajerski crystals. Reason why is because Mark Bajerski works on these crystals for hours. So I normally put like €1, sometimes 2, depending on whatever's happening at any given moment with the academy and markbajerski.com, and then I'll put that on top of the crystal. So it's basically like energy exchange. So some people a lot of people love my crystals that I've worked on. A lot of people get upset because they can't afford them, and when they get upset, I normally used to send them a crystal and say, don't get upset, it's okay. And then I'd change their perception of me, oh, he must be greedy, he must be a rogue. It's everywhere. I'm seeing it more now than ever. A poor girl on the internet, she got attacked so badly because she started working on a crystal, and she put the crystal up for sale, and she worked on it, she said, about 40 hours. So she must have watched my videos and thought she'd put it, and people were being so awful to her. It's like, you have to get over that. You have to get over that bit, because humanity is going to stop you from achieving your goals and your happiness in your life. I've come to realize that over the years. So have a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This is MOLDAVITE, piece of MOLDAVITE. That, you see the MOLDAVITE there, beautiful MOLDAVITE. I'll turn it slightly so you can see that MOLDAVITE. And this is a beautiful piece of, sorry, hard to see. That's a beautiful piece of Brazilian quartz. Now, the inclusions in the Brazilian quartz have really kind of stopped me from buying them, because we had quite a few people complaining, saying, oh, it's broken. It's not broken. Honestly, it's not broken. It's the way it is. Yeah, but you can feel the crack. It's not a crack. It's an inclusion. That's how it grows. So we got so tired of people saying, oh, it's broken. Like, just send it back. It's not broken. Honestly, it's not broken. But if you look at this one, it's got inclusions in it. And to some people, it may look like there's a crack in there. There's no cracks in there. And just at the side there, there's what looks like a crack. It's not a crack, it's an inclusion. So you can't really explain this to people unless they're, geologists, gemologists. So it's not worth it, really. Anyway, they're absolutely fantastic for metaphysical work. Amazing. The MOLDAVITE is broken pieces put inside nicely. And it's fantastic. I just absolutely love them. So this one's going to be on the website for €1. So that's going to be my gift. So I chose a few, and they're going to be like €1. So this is a beautiful, beautiful piece of druzy. It's hard to see, but a beautiful piece of druzy. Gorgeous. all my crystals, when you see the silver, is all 925 stamped, whether it's from Bali or wherever it is in the world. So yeah, you know, because I'm holding it and working with it, you've got to just brighten it up a bit. So I'm just brightening it up a bit. So that's going to go on the website at €1. So these are €1 pieces. Malachite, a nice piece of malachite here, beautiful. There's somebody in, it says device not connected. Sorry, device not connected, so I can't bring you in. I've put it out there to some pure energy healers to jump on, but it says device not connected. So I'll try and get you in and see what happens. But it says they will need to connect to their mic or camera before you can add them. So guys, whoever's jumping on, who wants to come on here with me today, pure energy healers, because we're going to talk about the body system, health, well-being, energy. If you're trying to jump in, I've sent you the link, guys. You need to connect everything before you can come on, which is your microphone as well as your camera. So I can't really help with that, I'm afraid. Can't take you through that. You have to figure that out yourself. It took me a while. But yeah, so look at that one. Absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous. Beautiful piece. So yeah, I've got a few pieces here. This is a fabulous piece. This is about €300, what I'm going to show you now. This is going to blow you away. It's beautiful, clear crystal, and it's been cut and polished in a really nice, thick, huge, thick silver, solid silver. So that's going to go on the website at $1. That's not, I think that's normally about 300, 350. That's going to be €1. So, and so on. I'm just going to take this out. A beautiful, beautiful piece of natural cube. And I'm wearing a piece there of pyrite. Some beautiful pieces. So I chose these. Oh, there's another one. There's another one going on as well. Clean that up. Beautiful. Little nugget of MOLDAVITE. That's going to go on at $1 as well. And I think that's dendrite. Pink. Beautiful. It's about €140 there. So, yeah, I'm doing it because I want to, and because some people can't afford these crystals. And I put them up there not for anybody, but for people who just don't have the money. So that's kind of like my payback, pay it forward. And then also I've got another class of crystals where I think, okay, I'm going to try and do them at cost price. So they might be 45, 55, 70, you know, just for the crystal alone. I'm not adding anything else on top. So I'm just doing it at the cost of what I would buy as an original piece. So my crystals, most of them, 90% of my crystals are cherry picked. So the price that I buy them at is slightly more than what you would do if you went to a fair, because I actually ask for certain crystals and they go and hunt for them. So they put their markup on, normally 25, 30% on top. But there you go. So what you get is a matte Bajerski crystal, a pure energy healing crystal. It's not a crystal. It's worked upon, and there's a lot involved in my crystals. So there you go. Yeah. So today, guys, welcome everybody to this morning Grand Rising live topic and discussion on energy, health and well-being. Energy meaning your body energy, your life force, and the consciousness too. These things are vital right now to navigate through our health and well-being. We're being sprayed every day, whether you believe this or not. I don't care whether you believe it or not, but I know for a fact that I'm being sprayed on from day to day. I can tell the difference between when they've sprayed through the night when they're sprayed through the day and when there is no spray whatsoever. You can actually feel the difference in your life force. You can feel it in your energy. You can feel it with headaches, not feeling well, feeling down, feeling cloudy, feeling a bit sick, not feeling good. Yeah, you can feel it. You can feel it if you are attuned, and that's what you've done for 20 years of your life, worked with energy. You can feel things more than others. And don't ever get upset, guys. Any healers out there or wannabe healers, don't ever get upset doing this work. You will get attacked. You will get attacked, because what the blind man doesn't see, it's very difficult to explain, you know? It's very difficult to explain. So unless you're being in it, I used to use this as an analogy quite a lot, and that is when I used to sit and give talks many years ago, people would come up to me and be bewildered next to their wife. Their wife would be totally into this, and the husbands were there just to support their wife, but tutting and umming and ahhing. And whether they decided to, out of the goodness of their heart, because they love their wife, they would come for a healing session. After the healing session, we'd sit and have a coffee, and their whole life changed right in front of me. They became open. They started feeling things, seeing things, and then thereafter, weeks, months after, they would transition into a new person, and they would always say to me, you know, you were the one that got me into all of this. You started me, and it's your fault. And it was lovely. Like, okay. So I've got somebody on my wall over there called Shirley. She got me into this in the sense that she did something to me. She gave me a healing session in the way she knew, and something changed in me dramatically. So I don't wake up in the morning and need to do anything. I wake up in the morning and want to do something. There was a difference. Before I had that healing session, which was called soul retrieval, I used to get up, and when I was out, I needed to do things. I had to do these things. I had to make people happy. I had to, you know, it was like a need. It was an addiction. It was kind of like a drug fix. And it wasn't done out of the way it's done now. I wake up in the morning and I just want to help. And it's there's nothing that is needed from it when I do it. So when I finished here, if I've helped one person, I don't think about that. I don't, you know, get excited about that. I don't feel that that was my fix. It just felt like this is what I want to do. So I don't get upset when people don't understand me. Although I will point out to people on many occasions, look at how you're behaving, look at what you're doing, look at that, you know, it's like, and I often do that because I think to myself, what kind of damage are you going to do through the whole of this week, month, and year to other people who can't cope with it? Could it be that you could do so much damage to somebody that they might just take their life? You might be their last straw that breaks and says, I don't want to be here anymore. And I don't think people understand that. I don't think people realize how close many people are in this world to tipping over and just saying, okay, I'm done, I'm finished. So going back to the idea of that, I truly don't believe that I need to do anything. And I don't. Something changed in me when Shirley gave me that healing session. And like when I was married to Susie at that time, Susie rang me up after the healing session. She said, are you okay? I said, for the first time in my life, I am okay. She started laughing. I said, no, I'm okay. And she said, what's up with you? What are you doing? I said, I've just sat down with this woman and my God, I don't feel as if I need to jump up on the table and chairs and start singing to everybody and dancing and laughing. I don't feel as if I need to prove anything to anybody. I can't explain it, Susie, but something's happened. And she started laughing. She says, okay, are you sure you hadn't had a drink? You know, but that was really the change, the moment that something happened, and it was called soul retrieval. And whether you believe in that or not, I don't know. But as healers, many healers around the world will give a healing session to somebody. Whatever that perception is of the healing session doesn't really matter. What matters is what happens to you after. Did you feel better? If a healer says to you, oh, I did this and did that and this happened and that happened, and you're like, really? I didn't feel anything and I don't feel any different, then that doesn't make sense. But after you've given a healing session and no words have said, just like Shirley said nothing to me, she gave me a cuddle and I walked off. Like, can I just have a cuddle? Yeah, okay. She gave me a cuddle and I walked off. And I was bewildered. I was in another world. It was like I was a different person. Words are not needed if you are a true healer. No words are needed. If you're telling people that you've got this on you and you've got this dark energy and you've got demons on you and stuff, you don't need to say that, because that's only feeding the brain and feeding fear, in my humble opinion. Like, just give me a healing session, feel better, brilliant. That's it. That's all what's important. That was part of a parcel that was sent to me. And it was made in a place called Pondicherry in India. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. It was a consignment of many things, and that is about 13 years old. High vibes, Pete. DIY turmeric, black pepper capsules. Very good. What are you using for the capsules? Because a lot of people believe that they're taking capsules which are made from natural plant origins, and then they're actually plastic. So be very aware of the lies and manipulations in this field of work. I don't know if you know now, but I was in El Corte Inglés the other day, and a friend of mine actually pointed out the same thing. These companies now, like Cadbury's, have jumped onto the bandwagon of health and well-being, and they're now repackaging all their poisons as health conscious chocolates and what have you. It's basically another form of brainwashing. So just be aware of that, guys. Yes, nothing wrong with stained fingers. I'm used to it. And cups and saucers and cold press machines, all stained, but who cares? Hi, Brendan. Lovely to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay, I'll just scroll down and see. I love the imperfections. Perfectly imperfect. Absolutely. Bang on, Sharon. I'm with you there. We are all imperfect, but actually, there's kind of like a saying, in the eyes of the beholder of somebody who loves somebody, in the eyes of the beholder, the person that loves somebody, a mole is a beauty spot. So that's how I see it. It's like, like my shoulders to one woman once was just like she hated my shoulders because they went down. I mean, I've broken. That one's broke. This one's not so good. I don't even know how to, but this one's knackered. But before, my shoulder, they are kind of like, they go like that. Don't like your shoulders, can't go out with you. And then you meet somebody else who loves your shoulders. Oh, yeah, I don't like your nose. Oh, and somebody meets somebody else saying you've got the most beautiful nose in the world. What does that tell you? It tells you everything. It's beautiful. One of the things that I talk about, and I don't mean to talk about Hollywood, but I used to read for a lot of Hollywood stars in the time that I started this field of work, and I'm just starting to learn about Hollywood. I didn't know about Hollywood at all, but I'm learning through those that, Hollywood, not only the Hollywood stars, but like cameramen, producers' wives, and so on. So I used to read because they're all in the same kind of circles. So when one says, "Oh, I had a reading with this guy and it was great," everybody else then comes to you. So that's all. Whether I was lucky or not to read for them, I don't. People might see it as lucky. To me, it was fantastic because I learned to understand the suffering of Hollywood. And I don't know why I've got into this subject, but the pain and suffering that these either like D listers, C listers, B listers, and even A listers have the same kind of energy. And often they would come to me saying, I've got, 3 auditions, and like auditions are that, like, to me, auditions are pure evil. They're just evil to me, auditions. It's like selling your soul. And auditions are pathetic anyway, and they're a joke because, you go there with the intention, whether you're a kid and you go to audition for whatever it is you go to audition for, go for a job interview, same thing. It's like they're looking for something, and then you come away from there thinking there's something wrong with you, but actually you've got red hair. You're not going to get the job because they're looking for somebody with blonde hair, but you've come away from that place feeling terrible and you feel bad. And I often used to have to, try and help my clients get over that. It's just, it's nothing. It's nothing like what you're building up inside you. And I think we all we're so self-critical. We harm ourselves by saying we're not good enough or there's somebody better than us, instead of saying, well, I wasn't meant for the part. And some people will sell the souls. Some people will, and they often did. And I had a conversation with one, which I'd never share who these people are, because I don't want to get into trouble, and I wouldn't want to get them into trouble, and I wouldn't want to tarnish that. This is a personal thing. You don't, when people come to you, you don't share personal information unless they've said, "Oh yeah, share that." And very few did. Very few, 1% did. They don't want anybody knowing that they went to a healer or a psychic. And but yeah, I remember one girl sat in front of me. She came from LA, and she sat in front of me, and I said, "What would you?" Because I was looking down at my cards, thinking, "This is awful." It's like she's selling a body like a prostitute. And I said, "What would you do to get this part?" She said, "Anything." And I just looked at her. I said, "Really? Anything?" She says, "Anything." And I realized that there are people there who just, there is no conscious connection. It's just something else. And it's something dark. And that's exactly why there's so much pedophilia in that field of work. There's a lot of satanic energy in that work. There's a lot of dark stuff that goes on in that field of work. And people are only now starting to understand that. Before, when I started talking about this 20 years ago, and a few others were talking about it, we were mocked and ridiculed. But interesting, the body temple, the body the body energy, and the physical are so connected. It's unreal. And if you sell your soul, almost, if you sell your body, it's the same as losing the disconnect to your consciousness. And I've seen this many times. There's a lack of consciousness connection to the body physical. It's almost like they separate themselves. It's not like the consciousness says, okay, I that's it, I'm done. It's actually not like that, because it's so complicated. Is the consciousness, or is it the brain? Is it the brain that's being deluded? Is it the brain that's being MK ultra'd by life? Is the only thing that's important. The brain, it keeps telling you, keep going, be successful, be rich. Doesn't matter how you get there. And then the consciousness is slowly whispering, saying, no, don't. You can't shout. Consciousness doesn't shout. Consciousness is what it is. So it vibrates at a frequency. Very, very rare that it vibrates at a high frequency. The times that it does, that I notice when it vibrates at a high frequency, is at close to death. So if you're just about to have an accident or something, sometimes something will kick inside you and it'll wake you up at that instant moment. It's fascinating, really, how it works. And I don't think nobody knows how any of this works. Nobody does. We're just touching the surface of this. Yeah, I think most people, to be honest, claim one thing and do another, and sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. And there's degrees of there's degrees of that as well. Um, Seven arrows, like I can, I can clearly say something and do the opposite without even realizing I'm doing it. And sometimes I have to wake up from, hang on a minute, I thought you were a healer. What? Why you say, why are you doing that? It's like, wow, if you. And the thing is, when you look at somebody else, it's so easy to judge somebody else. But when you do it, it's very difficult to see that. And you don't, because very rarely people judge themselves, or should I say, are in awareness of their actions and what they say and do. So I think we're all, to a degree, we're all hypocrites, and without even realizing. And somebody else can see that within us, in one way or another. And I guess the whole point why I think the world's been hijacked is because it's made everybody believe that good and evil, and that's it, good and bad. You should do this, you shouldn't do that. And there's no gray, there's no in between. And I think that's why the world is so very, very lost, because nobody is willing to hear the forgiveness. Nobody's willing to take a moment to understand why people do what they do and things. Nobody. Whereas me, I worked with clients who did terrible things, and then instead of knee jerking, because I didn't know who they were my clients. So when you are a healer, you cannot judge. You sit on the fence and you just listen, and you do your best to try and help that client to connect to their soul consciousness and understand what they're doing. Because, how many times has somebody said you've done something and you've gone, did I? I didn't even know I did that. Man, thanks for telling me that. I'll have to be more aware of that. So it's very difficult, because there's a difference between judgment and somebody trying to genuinely help you. And most of it is judgment. And now we've come to the point where there is no in between of that. There is no, oh, that person's really trying to help me. Because we all think that everybody's attacking us. We all think everybody's judgmental now. And it's very hard for people to come across and say something really lovely when it's an awful thing that might have something to do with you. So as a healer, when you are reading for somebody, what you are witnessing is something that is very clear and obvious that you need to help them with. And how I did it was, instead of attacking in the sense of saying, did you know that you did this? I used to use metaphors or stories of other people. I had a friend once who did this and did that, and then they'd realize that, oh shit, I do that, instead of saying you do that. And because we're all on the defense all the time and we're ready to cry and run away, as we do, we don't want confrontation. It's very, very difficult to put your point across to somebody without them running away or defending themselves because they think they're being attacked. So thus we have a world of insanity that nobody's interested in growing, because we think that everybody's attacking us. And I'm equal to blame. I'm talking about this because I'm equal to blame for it. And why did that happen to me? My school teachers used to call me thick, stupid, sit down, Bajerski, get out of the room, Bajerski, get in the center, go into the playground. Right in that set, this was from 6 years old. Into the playground, stand in the center of the playground, fold your arms and do this, and stay there the whole of the class. So everybody in the classrooms, all the classrooms could see you. So the form of abuse that teachers had no idea they were abusive, they just, in their thoughts and feelings, they were probably programmed the same way. They were probably beat the same way and tortured and abused the same way. So, well, it didn't hurt me, did it? Well, it did, mate, because look, you're doing the same thing to this man called Mark Bajerski. So he's now there. Everybody's looking at him. You can't really imagine, unless you're actually in that. You become very strong, but you also become very damaged. And this is called trauma. This is called trauma. And a lot of our trauma stems from schools, because there's no discussion with, Billy, who wants to beat everybody up. So Billy's beating everybody up, hurting everybody, and everybody's trying to deal with that trauma. Nobody's willing to look at it and sit down as a whole and discuss it. So life is like that now. Nobody's really wanting to discuss anything. It's all bullet points and he, she did it, and this is what they're like, and that's it. So everybody targets. I'll give you a great example. This morning, for some reason, my lemon video popped up on my feed, and there was a comment, and it said, this dude has been given lemons and he's never actually drunk. He's never actually had lemonade. And it was a joke. Of course it was a joke, right? But the first thing the ego or the bruised or the trauma wants to do is say, actually, I drink lemon juice every morning. Do you drink lemon juice every morning? And of course, that person would then feel attacked because he knows that he doesn't drink lemon juice every morning. So he'll run away. So everybody's running away. Nobody's finding anything funny anymore. The world is becoming darker by the day. Everybody is traumatized from past, and nobody's willing to work on that. Whereas when I became a healer, I realized that it isn't about healing others. It's about healing me, because I can't be the real healer if I'm always triggered and targeted and feel like, oh, people are saying bad things because I'm a healer. And, you know, hey, and just so you know, right, I did not charge a single penny for healing for 2 years, at least 2 years. Even in those 2 years of not charging, I was mocked and ridiculed for not charging by healers and psychics, saying he must be shit then, because if he doesn't charge, oh, he can't be any good. So you can't win. You start to charge. People say rip off, merchant, abusing people who, you know, in their lowest. So everybody is abusing everybody by trying to come up with a reason or an explanation that they can abuse somebody. So when somebody watches this today, I'll guarantee you that somebody is watching this without even knowing. They're waiting for me to say something that's going to trigger them, and they're waiting for something that is going to put another bullet in the gun as ammunition against me. And I think a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it. It's just inside them. They're so traumatized that they don't know how to heal themselves. Most people don't. They don't know how to heal themselves. So the only other thing they can do is turn away from that and focus their energy on something that has nothing to do with healing, that is making them feel better by saying, look, I told you he's not a healer. Look at what he said. Ha, I feel better now. And look what I've done, everybody. I've pointed out that he is this and he is that. And this is where we are in the world. Everybody's pointing out their own trauma by saying what they're saying is actually the most amazing mirror image of themselves. So when somebody says something negative, it's not about per se you, unless you've gone and hit them over their head with a hammer, then that's different. Okay, so if I hit you over the head with a hammer, that's a little bit different. You can say the guy hit me over the head with a hammer. But these little niggledy things of opinions and judgments, they're normally a representation of their trauma. Just like if somebody says something to me, I still hold trauma of my school days. I went through terrible trauma at St. Patrick's Church, where I used to be an altar boy. I've been through so much trauma. And then I went on to blind date. I went through another 7-8 years of being called a rat, all the way through at least 7 years. So I've always had this trauma, and I've realized that this trauma keeps coming all the time. Why does it keep coming? Because I create it. Why do I create it? Maybe there's a twin energy. Maybe because I want it without even realizing I'm wanting it. Why am I wanting it? Because I need to see it. I need to feel it to say, okay, that was part of my journey. I needed to feel the pain and suffering. Now that I felt it, what's the next part of my journey? I need to overcome it. Once I've overcome it, then I won't see it anymore. And I'm on the way of not seeing it anymore. However, something stops me all the time whenever I see somebody attack somebody else on social media. And a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Steve, I had to take him off my Facebook. Why? Because somebody said something really beautiful, and underneath he attacked them. not knowing that she was that far off committing suicide, that far off. And I quickly took it off, and I said to Steve, I said, Steve, please, Steve, you're not like any of my friends on Facebook. You're very different. You're a lad's lad. You're a footballer, you know. And I said, I love you for it. I says, but not everybody is in that position to be able to have that kind of conversation and be able to take that kind of stuff. So let me tell you who that lady is. This lady's called Sharon. She's a lovely girl. She's just lost her daughter. You've just said what you've said to her about the spirit world. She could take her life now, tomorrow, after seeing that, if she saw it. So please think about that before you start attacking people from saying things, because you don't know who they are. Okay. He never answered, never said sorry, which he doesn't anyway. And then he did it again. He did it to another guy that I know who's going through really hardship. Tony's just lost somebody. Okay. Not spirit, not into the spirit world, but somebody that he loved. They just left him. So he was like, you know, you're that close to a rope or some pills. And again, he did the same thing again. I quickly took it off and I just deleted him. I blocked my friend. I just took him off because I see the damage that people can do to somebody. And I often use this, which I find it blew me away when I heard it in such a heart-wrenching way. And it's the story of two policemen who was in a house of a man who'd thrown himself off a bridge and killed himself. So they went to the house, broke in, and found a letter on his desk. And the letter read that, basically said that, I don't feel like I want to be in this world anymore. There is no love anymore. There's no kindness. So I'm going to write this letter and I'm going to walk to the bridge. And if anybody smiles at me and acknowledges me as I'm walking, I'm going to turn back round. And if not, I'm going to jump. And it's like, a lot of people say, why do you justify when people say bad things? Why don't you just ignore it? I try and help people see what they're doing is can cause great effect to people. But maybe it comes a point that I battle with, should I or shouldn't I carry on? I mean, I could show you my inbox now with 15 messages, at least 15 messages today of the negative reactions to, you know, there's loads of names I get called all the time. Shill, there's grifter, there's loads of them, and I've got them all in my inbox today. So I just normally just delete them. I don't send healing anymore because I realize that's not working and it has a reverse effect. It makes them even more angry. So I don't do that. I just delete it, let it go. And it's basically like saying cutting the cords. And they do come and go because they go on to the next person. But the problem with that is by saying, oh, it's okay, just let them move on to the next person. It's like, well, what about if the next person is in a bad place? So it's a kind of catch-22 because I know my spiritual path and your spiritual path is what it is. You come here and you leave when you're meant to leave, and how you're meant to leave is nothing to do with me. So as a healer, I can only give you healing as far as your path allows. So I have to understand that in a deep way as well, that everybody has to go through the experience. But like I said before about the karma incident, okay, so everybody goes through what they're going through. Okay, fair enough. And everything is as it should be. Okay. So why is it then that I am being introduced to a point in my life coming down the stairs after finishing the readings all day, that I see a guy drunk and a woman drunk and the guy beating the woman? Like, why would I be there to see that? Why at that very moment at 9 o'clock at night, all the shops were closed. It was wasn't a nice night. It was negative. It was awful. And I could feel this negativity right there. So it's like, well, if it's all as it should be, why am I here? I mean, why wouldn't I question that? So the choice is, well, if I really believe in karma, the karma is that she is being hit because it's her karma, right or wrong? Because if you believe in karma, that means, oh, wait till you get your karma. Well, if you believe that, then you must believe that if she's been hit, then she deserves that because that's her karma. So she must have done something bad, right? It makes no sense. Karma makes no sense. Why am I there? Is my karma to watch it and feel the pain? Is that my karma? Or is my karma to stop it? Oh, I just threw my hands in the air and think, I don't really know what I'm doing here. But I tell you what, I don't like what I'm seeing. So I went down and I didn't hit the guy. I just moved him to one side with my hand and I said, please don't hit a woman. Don't hit her. And then he hit me on the back of the head. And then she started hitting me. She started trying to scratch me. So I asked many gurus, where's the karma there? Should I have stopped it? And I did stop it. And if it's yes, you should have done, then why was my karma to get scratched and punched by doing a kind act? If I wasn't meant to stop it, then why am I watching it? So you see, karma makes no sense to me. Okay, so the only thing that makes sense when I hear karma is how I treat you is my karma. How you react back to me is your karma. That I understand. But the word karma doesn't really fit into my vocabulary because when I hear it, it often has a negative connotation. It has negative energy attached to it. Oh, wait till you're gonna get your karma. Wait, oh, look what Bill Gates did. He's gonna get his karma. Well, hang on a minute. Hang on. Let's stop there for a minute. If I was to say this is my karma to watch it and not stop it, then Bill Gates continues. The guy continues beating the woman. So for me, it's like, no, F karma. I'm going to tell people what I see, and I believe this is my truth. I believe Gates from Hell, like many others, is trying to cull the world because of their trauma and their belief system. So, stuff karma. Karma means that you know you're not going to do anything about it. You've just thrown your hands up and mentioned karma, which makes you feel better, but actually that's not a good feeling. Wanting them to be burnt alive or die badly. That's not to me. It should be okay. That person needs to be taken away, locked up in anywhere, not treat bad because then you're as bad as them. Give them food and all that, but you're not going to start to hurt anybody ever again. So that's it. That when I hear the word karma said, it gets people angry. It doesn't make them feel better. I don't see that at all. It just makes them more hating, and they don't do anything. They just use the word karma. Wait till they get their karma. That's it. Is that it? Is that the best you can say? Karma. So this is an invisible force that's going to kill them. Well, I don't think that's God. I don't think God wants to kill people, right? Because that's what you're saying. Karma's wait till karma comes. So what could karma mean? It could mean that you're invoking demonic evil and your thoughts are producing negative energy. So it just don't make any sense to me. What do you all think about that? So let me ask you this then. If you think that I was just there to observe it, learn, singing, just observe it, how many people has ever walked past a woman who's fallen on the street and she's bleeding? How many has ever walked past? Don't worry if you have, because you might have been in a rush. You might have seen other people going to help her. How did you feel? I'll tell you how you felt. You felt bad because you didn't interject. You didn't go down. You didn't help that person, right? So guilt kicked in for a few seconds, and then your brain says, oh, don't feel guilty. Somebody else is taking care of them. What I'm trying to say is that when we know inside our consciousness knows to do the right thing, we should always do the right thing. I don't think for a moment that observing something bad happening without doing anything is part of our journey in that sense. Not when we can try and make a difference in some way. If somebody has a gun up against somebody's head and they're about to kill somebody, and I'm there and other people are there, okay, I'm going to try and help. I'm going to figure out at that moment, what can I do to try and grab that gun? I'm going to die, probably going to die. Of course I am. Or am I going to run? I ain't going to run. I'm not a runner. I don't run away from anything. I can't run away from anything. So I'd probably get killed. But the thing, what I understand is that when we move into the spirit world, we get images, and I've heard this many times from clients who are moving into the light, telling me, I'm seeing all these thousands of images, Mark, and I'm saying, yes, very normal. And that is a prejudgment to yourself, not by God. Basically what it means is, forget the word judgment. You're seeing what you've been through, and you're looking at it all, and you're making sense of it all, and what feels right and what didn't feel right. So for me, intervening in many a people being hurt, I can't help myself. I've done it all my life. And when it's my moment and I'm about to move into the light, I know that there's things that I wish I'd have done differently. But I do know that whenever I was in a bad situation where somebody was going to get hurt, I know I did the right thing. So in my understanding, in my experience, I don't stand and watch anything. If I'm there, it means I'm there for a reason. If I'm there for a reason, it's not just to stand and observe. It's to help the situation. So there's many situations where there's loving things that happen. And this is where the confusion lies. So you'll see two people holding each other, hugging each other, kissing each other. And we observe that and we see that love and we try and, okay, that's really lovely. I think I'm going to hug my partner that way, my wife, or that's a different observation. That doesn't come with the fear. It doesn't come with the hate. It doesn't come with the anger. It doesn't come with the fighting, the aggression. So that's just my humble opinion. I think a lot of people put them in the same box, and that way they can use it as an excuse not to do anything. So that's just my humble opinion. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, I've tried to, I've spoke to about 15, 20 gurus, or they call them Babas, Babaji, Gurinder Singh, many of them all over the world. And the closest one is Ajahn. I mean, he doesn't call himself a guru, and he's per se not a guru. Of course he isn't. Nobody's a guru. We're all gurus. But, you know, we did a video together and we talked about karma. And, you know, to me, it's just doing good. And doing good means that you want to make a difference. You want to help. You want to create. You don't want to destroy. And by watching somebody destroying somebody and not doing anything, then you're creating, you're actually adding to that. You're actually, you know, saying that's okay. Well, no, you don't destroy. Don't hit somebody. Don't hit your dog. I'd be like last week, I drove up to this woman. I was on my motorbike and she was basically hitting the dog. And all I say when I say, and it happens often here, right? And and what this is about is taking it out on your dog, how you're feeling. The dog's not doing anything. He's just sniffing. He's just doing what he does, what a dog does, sniffs bums and chases cats. That's the general life. And oh, because he's not doing what you want to do, I'm going to beat him now. Okay. So I drove up to this woman and she was in her 40s. And I said, excuse me. She went, oh, what? I said, you do not deserve that beautiful dog. I just looked at her and drove off. That's all I said. Now, I wasn't hitting her or pushing her out of the way and grabbing the dog. I was just reminding her of her abuse, and just that little, them few words, they're called key words, is going to make her think about who she is and what she's just done, and maybe change something within her. Maybe not, but I felt that's as good as I could give at that moment without, what am I going to do? Take the dog off her? Then I'll get done for kidnapping somebody's dog. There's only so much we can do, but to the best of our ability. This is why I always say this. There's no wrong or right. You can only do what the best you can do. So when anybody says to me, can you help me? I'll say, well, I can't promise anything, but I'll do my best. And I think that's something that we all can say. I've just done my best today. Yeah, I've slipped up, I've fallen, I've said stupid things that I shouldn't have done. I reacted the way, but you know what? I'm learning from it and I'm growing from it. And I don't think we ever stop growing. So, darkness. Well, it's very kind of you. Lovely, very loving words of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've heard it before. And I think we all, like, your words just made me feel happier, and it's like, okay, thank you. So I think we all are equal in our ways of trying to help people. But I really mean this, I do think that we have to become word magicians. We have to become psychic and intuitive when we are approaching any given situation in life towards others, because most people are in a bad place and most people react very negatively. Not many people are up for debate or a nice conversation. Or no people like to talk about taboo things. No people like to, you can't get to the truth unless everybody's open enough to be able to talk about it, because most people are just waiting to talk what they want to talk. So they're just waiting for somebody else to stop speaking so they can talk. And this is what the world is like now. Listen to me, and I'm not listening to you. Listen to what I've got to say, because my conversation is more important than yours. And this is where we are right now. There's a huge ego in a presence in evil. The evil touches ego. It really does. It touches the brain energy as well. Really does. Pride, jealousy, and so on. We are living in a world of madness, and it reminds me of my mum's jewelry box. All the jewelry is all entangled together, and it's so hard to know where to begin. But I think on an individual level, if we see that jewelry box that we're all in that jewelry box. There's pink, there's blue, there's yellow, there's chains, there's silver, there's gold, there's copper ones, there's plastic ones. Just look at one of them. Just stop looking at all of them. Just look at one. Okay, I see a yellow one there, yellow chain. Okay, focus on that yellow chain and start to undo that yellow chain. And slowly but surely, you're not looking at anything else. You're just looking at the yellow chain, and you get the yellow chain and you feel really good. Okay, that's one. That's how I do it. And this is how I use the metaphor in the same way as emotions and the madness in this world. Just focus on one thing at a time instead of everything, because you dilute your energy when you look at everything at the same time. So the greatest of heroes, the greatest of achievement and accomplishment is of one person who focuses on one thing and just does that one thing. That's normally where people go, wow, how did you do that? Well, because I focused on that one thing and everything else didn't mean anything to me. I left everything else alone. And I think that's something that we have to try and master. Even if it's for an hour or a week or a day, just focus on one thing. So today I focus on this. So today I'm going to focus on uploading those. So I'm not going to divert myself to other things on the internet and other people telling me. I'm just going to focus on them. Once I've done that, that's that done. Because if you're focusing on everything all day long, be honest with yourself. Have you actually done anything? Have you actually created or done anything? You just focused on everything. Nothing's actually been done. And thus, this is why we are in this place where nothing gets done. We're all still where we are. Nobody's moving forward because we are watching this entertainment from every single way, from all walks of mediums like, Bill Gates, Fauci, Injection, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, and everything's like boom, 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 boom. It's like, what have you actually done? What have you done today? Well, I watched this and I learned this and I learned that. Really? But what have you done? You've learned that, but what have you? You've just jumped into that pile of my mum's jewelry, and you're in between all of that. I want to pull you out because you're not actually doing anything. Yeah, but I've learned something, and I don't, I'm aware of it. Okay, all right. Okay, how many times you need to be aware of it? Well, it just gives me more confidence every time I hear it more and more. That's a program. That's not spirituality. That is not awareness. That is not intuition. That means that you're being programmed and brainwashed more and more by listening to the same thing all the time. If it was true, you don't need to listen to it twice. Ooh, being dangerous now, Mark. Be careful. But it's true, guys. It's true. You ever listen to Don Tolman? Have you ever heard any of his talks? Go and listen to some of his talks, his older talks when he was younger. Just click on Don Tolman. He's got a series out there where he's wearing his cowboy hat and he's on stage. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts or 10 parts. Just watch it. Just click on number 8 and watch it. Listen to what he says. Then ask yourself, do you need reminding of what he just said? No, you don't, because you know it's true. You know it's true, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to know. When you are searching all the time for the same truth, you've got to ask yourself, was it really true? Or are you just trying to convince yourself by the same lie being given to you all the time? So these things that as you grow in awareness, you start to realize that there is real truth, and real truth only needs to be said once because you can feel it. And that's it. You don't need confirmation. You don't need to back that up. You don't need other people to say anything because you just know it's truth. Truest truth, Don Tolman calls it. The truest truth. I call them golden nuggets of truth. We are better at speaking up for others. Do you know why? Because we don't know others. We know ourselves. So we don't speak up for ourselves too much because we know we're not perfect. But when we speak up for somebody else, there's no judgment there. Because they're just a soul. And if we did that for ourselves, then, it's just trauma. That's why we don't speak up for ourselves, because we're traumatized, And a wonderful one as well is he without sin cast the first stone. I'd change that a little bit. I'd change that whole concept, by the way. Because it's not he without sin, it's he without trauma. It's not sin, but sin is very clever. That's used there for, again, very clever. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I did invite some of the healers on, but it was very short notice, and only one person tried to jump on, but they couldn't connect because their camera wasn't on. So I was going to maybe have a chat with somebody who wanted to jump on, who was a healer from Pure Energy Healing Academy, but they're all probably busy and doing their own thing. And some people just don't want to talk. They just want to listen, which is great. Yeah. What kind of wacky name is Bajerski? Wacky name. Yeah. I've like, names are for tombstones. That's a James Bond film. Wacky name. Yeah. My name's Mark Bajerski. Can you spell it, please? Yeah. Bajerski. Bravo. Alpha Julia Echo Romeo Sierra Kilo India. It's kind of like constant, but My name in Polish, this is another thing. My name in Polish, if you look at it on the internet and look it in, it really is spelt Bajer. Now, Bajer in Polish, this is what I've had a flack all my life. Mark Devlin said the same thing to me the other day when we were talking to him. They said, "Oh, Devlin, devil, Mark Devlin, devil. Oh, he's the devil, right? This is how everything is a conspiracy. Everything is, everything you see. So obviously, Bajer. So to Polish people, Bajer, them first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters means, apparently, this is what I asked my dad about this when I was younger. My dad said, "Stop being stupid." That it means a rare flower. That's what my dad said. Well, it's like saying snake, a snake, but slimy, slippery, but maybe a word which is slang. So it wouldn't even be in the Polish dictionary. Bajer wouldn't be in the Polish dictionary, and it wouldn't mean what other people know in Polish it means. So imagine you have a name of somebody that you know is a crook and is a slimy worm, and you'd use a nickname for it. Well, Bajer in Polish is a nickname that some people used to use, which isn't in the diary, which refers to as a really awful thing. So I used to come home crying because some of my friends at school used to say Bajer, right? And they were Polish. And I didn't know why they were laughing because I don't speak Polish. And then as I got older, and he has listened to this, in the village, we had no money. I was a psychic and a healer. I wasn't doing any. I wasn't charging. Sometimes people would give me a flower or a crystal, and some people might leave some money in a box, which was for a horse that a group of us used to look after. So it'd go down to feed the horse, but I wasn't making any money of doing this because I was just, all my clients, I was learning from them. So we had no money, but we needed a car because we lived in Alarin, El Grande. We didn't live in the village at the time. So this lady who was Danish was her husband and her daughter. Her daughter was friends with my daughter, and she was lovely to me. They were both lovely to us. They lived at the top of this mountain, and they were so kind and loving, I thought. And they were leaving Mias. And China was really upset because the little girl and her got on so well. And I'm thinking, oh, that's awful. I'm so sorry, but maybe you can keep in touch. And then we actually needed a car, and we were saving for a car, and we'd got about 700 euros. And I don't know how it happened, but she sent me a message saying, "Mark, do you want to buy our car?" And I said, "Oh, I don't think I can afford. It looks a little bit too good. We've only got 700. She said, "Oh, okay, no problem." She says, we really want 1,000 euros for it. And remember, this was a long time ago. So I went to the bank, and the bank manager said, "Okay, I'll lend you the 300. So I rung her up and I said, "Is everything okay? Is it a good car?" She said, "It's brilliant. It's just been in for a service. It's a great car." So we bought the car. We gave her 1,000, and then they left. And I remember picking the car up, going into the village, parking up, really proud and happy of this nice new car. Drove down here, and the car broke down here, just outside here, next to the garage here. Underneath here, there's a garage, Antonio. And luckily enough, he managed to push it inside. And he said, "Engine, it's gone." And I said, "Oh, Jesus, it's blown." He said, "Yeah, it's blown." And he says, "But They already knew that what you know. They knew it was going. I'm like, oh, did they? Oh, great, fantastic. So obviously, I sent a message saying, you knew that the engine was going. And then she attacked me on social media and she used the word buyer. And she said, look at your last name. That's who you truly are. And that's from a woman who sold a car to me knowing the engine was going. So this is how it works. I always find that, like, ask yourself this: do you attack other people? No, you don't. No, you don't attack other. From a day-to-day basis, you don't attack other people at all, do you? No, you don't. You don't just attack other people. So I don't attack other people. If I'm seeing that Bill Gates or Fauci doing these things, I am saying that these people, this is wrong. What's happening here is not right. This needle is going to cause damage to people. And of course we're right. Of course we are. Look at what's going on right now. Look at what's happening. I was sat down this morning down there and I couldn't do a live because I was listening to a guy saying that his mother has just got leukemia. Hands up, how many people have you heard now has got leukemia or heart problems, or nearly everybody now. So no, but nobody wants to put two and two together. But anyway, Bajerski, as my dad believed, was a flower. I don't think it was at all. And I don't know where it comes from. And do I like my last name? No, I don't like my last name. Would I change it? No, I wouldn't. I don't want to change it. I've got lots of friends who have changed their name. And that's the name I was born with. That's the name I've got. That's the name my son's got. My son's proud of his name. Do I care about my name? I don't really care about my name. It doesn't make me who I am. I don't identify myself by Mark Bajerski. I identify myself by what I do from day to day. That's who I am. If people identify me by my name, then that's not who I am. I am what I do, not my name. And I don't look at you and look at your name, or Mark Devlin and look at him and identify him by his name. I don't identify people by the name when they call themselves Doreen Virtue. I don't identify or look at somebody because they call themselves whatever it is, Laluth or Ray or Sunny Ray, or it means nothing to me. There's people who call themselves whatever they want to call themselves, but are they actually who they truly are? Is that who you are? I don't look at you because of your name. I look at you because of who you are and what you do and what you say and how you are through the years. If you look at any of my videos going back for 10, 12 years, you'll see that I didn't even realize how many videos I've got on YouTube, but there's over 2,000 now. You can't, in my opinion, if you look at the videos, you watch me from day to day in the morning, you see my sadness, you see my anger, you see my love, you see my bewilderment, you see all differences of who I am. That means I'm not an actor. If you see somebody the same all the time, talking a good talk all the time, holding a cup in his hand, talking and smiling all the time, that's an actor. They're acting. And I don't believe like I'm here now. Am I acting? No, I'm not acting. This is me. This is who I am. And through fault and mistakes, I've made mistakes. I've sold crystals, thousands of crystals. I've sold crystals which weren't crystals, right? They were fake. And I'm like, shit, I got my machine tested. This is a fake and a bloody good one. But I'm the first person to switch it on here and go online and say to you guys, look, I've been stuffed. I've been stuffed by somebody I really, truly trusted. And I believed it was a crystal. And I've actually sold some and I worked with them and they felt lovely, but they're not crystals. So keep it. And I'm sending you your money back. Right? So good and bad, right and wrong should be who you are. And that is showing your truth. And a lot of people won't do that. A lot of people will not show their truth. And I think by not showing your truth, you're actually killing the world more and making the world more sick and making them more like, oh, you need to be happy all the time. Well, actually, that's not who I am all the time. So I'll be lying. I'll be cheating. That's not fair. Because what you're doing is you're being like all the other influencers, always happy, always joyful. You know, all the other gurus sat down being perfectly calm in their voice and speak lovely. I've met a lot of them gurus who are the quickest to knee-jerk and to judge and to be angry. But on a camera, around people, it's a different thing. You only know somebody when you live with them. That's the bloody truth. There's no truer word said there. When you get to know somebody really, then you really know who they are. And I've got flaws, and I tell people day by day. Why do you keep telling people about your problems, your issues, Mark? Because I want people to realize that we're all the same, and that I don't want to be putting on a pedestal because I've said something lovely, or I've given somebody a healer and they think, oh, he's a healer, he's this, he's that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Don't say that. We're all healers. So I've always tried to be as honest, free from ego, but you'll always be attacked. You'll always be attacked. You know, do a healing session for €100. Oh, he's a ripoff. Do a healing session free of charge. He's shit. He can't be any good because he's not charging. You can't win, because everybody's conversation, money conversation, spiritual conversation, religious, non-religious conversation, thoughts, processes, they're all different because everybody has their own opinions through what they've been brainwashed to believe. But truth is truth. So that's my truth. Walking this earth is a tightrope. I tell you, it's a tightrope. It really is. It's a tightrope. And you can find fault in everything. You can find fault in Jesus. Yeah. What did Jesus do? He threw over some tables because he saw that these taxmen, these people making money on people in his house of God. So he threw the tables over. He got angry. He got mad. You can find fault in that. You can find fault in anything you want. Jesus said, while he was dying on the cross, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Well, if you are God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, why would you talk to yourself? You can find fault in everything, and you can judge everything. You can say anything you want, and you can always find a way to see the bad or the good in people. That's the whole point of life. What do you want to see? The bad in Mark Bajerski? Then you'll find it. You'll find the bad in me. You will go on my website. You'll look online. It might be not easy to find because not many people say bad things about my company, because we have got 100% track record of being kind and caring and giving back, and no quibble, no arguments. We're good that way. But you'll find fault in Mark. You might even find a woman back in my days who says, oh, he just used me for one night. You'll find anything in anybody if you want to find it. Or you can find the love and kindness in people. The choice is yours, but there's no wrong and right. What you're going to do, you know, it is what it is. But we are a world of judgment. And I think that's part of the journey. I guess that's part of the journey. You can't say it's not, because everybody does it. So it's got to be part of the journey, you know. And I've come to believe this, that we're not all the same consciousness. And I've been saying this for years. We're all very different inside. No, we're not. We all come from the same place. I don't believe we do. I think we can use that as a great excuse. And I don't think that's true at all. I've felt energies inside people that are completely different from others. Consciousness, feeling, sometimes not even. I've even worked with one man that I felt no kind of consciousness within him. So, you know, all possibilities are up for grabs. We don't really know anything. And they say that we only see 0.001% of the living light spectrum. But, you know, when you start working with energy, you certainly feel a lot more. You certainly feel a lot more. But yeah, life is beautiful. Yeah, but then, you know, I can argue with that point as well, Mitch, can't I? We need to learn not to judge, right? But what is judging? You know, because you can easily say, well, I wasn't judging. It was just an opinion. I wasn't judging. I was just observing. So it's very difficult, because we've tried to tackle this, you know, what's the difference between opinions and judging? What's the opinions of my truth to judging? You know, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. They're all words. But for me, you know, when I see harm being done, if I see somebody hurting somebody, that's not a judgment. That's an experience and fact that I see in front of me. And the only fact I have is what I'm seeing right now. But it could be that that woman could have poisoned their dog or try to kill their child, and the man's angry because he wants to hit her because of what he's just done. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. So all we have is one perception, but we don't know what's going on. So again, all we can do is our best. Like, to the best of my ability, what I saw and what I see this person doing, I don't feel is right, and I'm going to try and stop that, not by fighting back, but by just breaking it up and saying, please don't hurt each other, please don't fight, please don't hurt each other. That's different from punching his lights out. So we do it in a way that isn't equal to what's happening in front of us, if that makes any sense. Mark Atwood, Mark Devlin. I don't know. I don't know. EMIT. I don't know. I have no idea who Mark Atwood is, and a reptilians. I have no idea. I have no idea. Don't know. Sorry, I have no clue. I can't even answer that because I don't know. I have no idea. Reptilian. I don't even know what reptilians are these days, what the race is, whether you're talking about them, their shape shifting, or whether there is a consciousness of a different consciousness. I don't know. I really don't know anymore. All I know is who I am and what I'm trying to do in this world, and I don't know. It's just, the more I see things, the more I see more chaos, more things to just confuse us with everything. And flat earth, not flat earth. It's like, has he been to the moon? Hasn't he been to the moon? It's almost like everything is a distraction not to be able to find who we are, and, or find out why we're here. It's like, it's incredible, really, how life is right now. We are blessed to be on this world, for sure we are. And I think we're all here to contribute in one way or another. And however we contribute is fine. I mean, I've got friends who work full time in the satanic world, trying to help children, rescue them. I don't know if you know about Wilfred Wong. That he was a barrister, spent his life trying to help people as a barrister, trying to do the right thing, and then started, obviously, you'd have to listen to his story, but he dedicated his life and showing people about pedophiles, about the satanic world in the UK, and they got him. They got him. They got him. I think they got him in a way that they created this false narrative. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but they ended up arresting him with a knife in his hand and saying that he was the baddie, and he ended up doing more years than what somebody who would rape a child would do. So they got him. So that we do know that this world is controlled, is run by the darkest of forces, for sure. We know this to be true. So we navigate our best. But yeah, you should know this given your knowledge. I should know what? What should I know given my knowledge? I don't know what. The only thing I know is that David Icke and a few others talk about reptilians being, the queen and all that. I see energy. I see energy around people and within people. I see attachments. From time to time, I do see very heavy, and worked with people with really awful attachments. That is something nobody wants to witness. To pull that away from them and out of them is just, it's not nice. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, and I wouldn't wish anybody to have an attachment. So there's so many different layers of what we're talking about. Is somebody demonic, or are they attached with demonic? Is somebody a reptilian, or is that an attachment as a reptilian? Again, it's just another word. Reptilian is just another word. It's another consciousness feeding as attachments feed from us. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't Emmett, I'm sorry I can't answer any of your questions that way. I'd love to be able to say, yeah, you're right, and maybe you know more than me. But no, all I know is what I know. So there is no ego in me. I don't know everything, and I'm still learning to this day, and I'm always open to learning as well. I love learning. I actually love learning. I do. So I've learned. I've spent so much time. I've been to David Icke's. I've been to so many of David Icke's lectures and stuff. You know, Ule. I've met so many amazing people who've talked to me about, you know, the reptilian race and all that, and it's fascinating. But I don't know. I only know what I see, what's in front of me, and what I've learned from my clients. Now, if I would have experienced that, and I would say, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but you know, I can't use ego in this conversation. I don't want to use ego in there. I don't know, so I don't know. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, or it doesn't exist, or it does. Just that I don't know. I do believe when David Icke talks about these things, I do believe he believes what he's saying, and so many thousands of others talk about it. But my world hasn't been that world. It's been more negative energy, negative, heavy energy that when somebody comes and they're feeling sick because they've got cancer, or maybe they're just like depressed because they've lost their job, and a man is on his, like, he's got 3 kids, 4 kids from Ireland, lost both houses. He wants to kill himself. Like, so his energy, his connection to darkness and just leaving this world, that was my work. It was more simplistic work, and I want that man to feel better, and once he's feel better, then he can look after his children and be kinder to his children and his wife. That was kind of my simplistic work. So people kind of say I should know more, but I don't, because my work was just working one-to-one with people. So sorry. I wish I could say yes, you're fucking right about that. I believe that. Whether I believe it or not is a different thing than actually knowing. I mean, I could tell you stories, Emmett, that will blow you away. I have one, and this is the honest to God's truth. I had one client who was a Mormon who told me the story that came out about, I think, 6 months later on YouTube, and then disappeared. And it was in, I can't verify this, but my client was a beautiful guy who was a Mormon, and he told me the story about, I don't know if you know about the Mormon church, but it's very, very heavily connected to a lot of kind of dark stuff, even though they don't know that because it's a tier system. But in the Mormon church, and I know this is a fact, but my sister's a Mormon all her life. Okay, I've been to the church. I know what it's about. I just played basketball. I enjoyed the basketball. That was it. So I went in the archives of the Mormon church is one of the most in-depth genealogy, let's say, if you want to know about your ancestors, go to the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saint, because they've got the I don't know whether it's in computers, but it was it was more file system. So they have like drawers and drawers of files. One of the persons who worked in, I believe, I have to be careful what I say because I might get it wrong. I don't know if it was the I don't know if it was the church, or it could have been, let's just say it was the church, because I'm not sure. So this person used to work below, because most of the files are below. One day, their friend went down the stairs, and part of the wall had caved in downstairs. There was some. So this guy saw all this rubble, moved it out of the way, and realized that there was a staircase, and it wasn't black. It wasn't pitch black. There was a light. There was light below. So he moved through all of the debris, pushed it aside, went down the stairs, and came face to face with a reptilian. This is the story that I'm hearing. And I believed what he said, completely believed what he said. So his friend came face to face with the reptilian. They both like freaked. They both just shot and ran opposite directions. He went upstairs. Now, he quickly rang, I believe it was he was an elder. So he rang the bishop. The bishop then said, okay, leave it with me. Close the door. Tell everybody to get out. And it was shut. They closed it. They said within a space of hours, there was tanks that came with pipes and basically flooded that place out with concrete. So the next time he went and looked, it was all boarded up, nicely painted, and that was the story. So I overheard this story. First of all, this was many years ago, and I'm like, wow, like this, like freaking blew me away. But I didn't know whether it was what he said was true. He was telling me this is true. He was telling it me, and I believed what he was saying. So I can't not believe that. So do I believe that there is other life forms below us? I do believe it with all my heart. But do I believe that there's also a reptilian life force as consciousness that vibrate in and out of this frequency? Yes. I also believe in the Hethers too, which is another life force, which is part of, let's say, another world that I don't believe wholeheartedly is here to protect us. It just observes. They're called the Hethers, right? And I studied this, and I've seen certain moments where I've seen this interaction of the vibration vibrating in and out, which isn't of the spirit world, because I know the frequency of spirit world. Normally I feel it and my ear pops. So if I start to talk about this, I could talk about it for a week and a month. But yeah, do I believe in other life forces? Absolutely. Do I believe in negative entities, energies, good and evil? Absolutely. For bloody sure I do. How can I make a difference to change the world? I really don't know about that. I really don't know. But it's all interesting, and I love conversations about that. I get so, I love it because I like to learn. I think we all do. I think we all like to learn. So I've witnessed reptilian shape shifting in. I've seen eyes change in quite a few people for sure. I've seen that maybe about 15 or 20 times while I was one of the conferences I was at once. Somebody was sat there and their eyes shifted. I've seen that. So I know, but I believe that. I actually write in my book about one guy who looked like a god. He was beautiful. He was blonde hair, blue eyes. When he was on my healing, while I was giving him a reading, his eyes changed color from blue to gray and then back again a few times. And it's like, did I just see that? So was he a reptile? I don't think so. Was he of this world? Well, I don't know who is of this world. What does that mean? Was he like you and I? No, he wasn't. I couldn't connect with his family in the spirit world. I couldn't connect to him and his family in this world like I normally can. I can normally say, oh, you've got an issue with your brother. I can feel it here. I couldn't feel his brother, his sister, his wife, anything. He was like scanning me. It was the other way around. And to this day, I believe that he was, I don't know whether you want to call them Nordic blondes. That's a word that they use, but was he of this world? Meaning, is he of human form and consciousness like us? No, I don't think he was. So I write that in my book. So it's not like I don't understand these things. I do. I work with spirit every day. I work with ghosts. I work with spirit trapped in between two worlds. Work with attachments, demonic energies, which I didn't really talk too much about because I don't like to freak people out. But I do slowly slip in things, and I do actually interview people that also does the work that I've now found. Jerry Mazinski, I never even heard of him. Brilliant one to listen to, talking about demonic, talking about where they are, that they're in pubs and that they're in hospitals. I knew this because I was working in that energy in hospitals. Didn't work in I mean, I used to go to pubs and nightclubs. Of course I did. And I realized that there is, you can be with somebody and you can drink with them, and all of a sudden something will snap in them. And you might think, oh, it's because they're pissed. No, it's not. It's because something's taken over them and they're not the same person. Look in their eyes. They're out to kill. They're out to harm. They're out to do bad. So I know about all of these things. I know it's not the alcohol. The alcohol is just a gateway to bringing in entity or dark energy or negative energy in us. It's a fascinating subject. But I'm wishing you all a lovely day. I am. I'm wishing you all a lovely day. And conversation is good, and it helps us contemplate things, and then we go away and meditate on them, and we ask ourselves, what is the truth? Try and figure it out. I cheat and use these. So I'll sometimes ask. Somebody came around yesterday, a dear friend of my ex-wife. She came around and she was asking about something. What do you think, Mark? And I said, I don't know. And I just turned a card over, and it was a fantastic card. And I said, well, everything feels right and it looks good. Give it a go. Give it a try. So I do use my cards a lot. I trust them and only use them at the right times when I'm healthy and well. A lot of people believe that the cards are satanic and dangerous and bring in bad negative energy. I don't believe that's true. I believe that, like, if you're touching on things like the Ouija board, that's a bit different. But when you're using these cards, it's a different thing. It's a different energy. It's a loving energy to me. And I've used them for so many years, and I've never been possessed by demonic. Whenever I've used the cards, it's always been very, very highly energetic, positive, and wonderful. I always cleanse myself afterwards anyway, because you get the residue of negative energy coming off your client, and sometimes you're working such a high frequency. It's good to ground yourself as well. So I'm wishing you all a great day. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. It was wide, it was different, it was just a nice chat. But I'm wishing you all a great day, guys. I'm going to work on some crystals and upload some crystals now. Have a great day. Love you all. All of you. Love you all. I mean it. You're in my heart. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, guys. Take care. It's been 1 hour and 30 minutes. Jesus Christ, 1 hour and 30 minutes. This guy the one thing Mark can do is bloody talk.